How you feel about your car?
It caught me at a bad time.
There you go, get it.
It's amazing.
It's amazing?
Yes.
What's going on, guys? It's Caleb, and today we have a Mk7 GTI in Tornado Red that is in the shop getting everything done to it that I possibly can within a 5-day time period. With this car, I walked into it thinking, just a 2-stage major correction, get it done within 5 days, coat it, maybe coat the tips. No. Did not happen at all whatsoever. The paint was in much worse shape than I ever expected it to be, and you guys will see that later on. Sit back and relax though, because this is going to be a good one. We got to get these wheels nice and cleaned up before we do anything else. Let's get to it. Just to chime in here real quick, for those who are wondering what's in that foam cannon there, that is my pre-treatment foam cannon. It's literally just some Meguiar's D101 all-purpose cleaner mixed in with some Adam's car shampoo, so that way it gets thick and sticky just like a natural foam cannon would. There's really no real measurements here. It just works fantastic as a pre-treatment. It really helps to eat away at anything on the paint, whether it be wax, dirt, same thing with wheels, whether it be brake dust, anything like that. it was kind of weird and all over the place because of the Florida summer sun. Because there was just so much direct sunlight coming down with little to no shade in my driveway this time of year, I had to micromanage the paint by doing it in sections. So if you're ever in a situation where there is only direct sunlight, I guarantee you one part of the car is going to have at least a little bit of shade. Focus on that side first because that's the side that's not going to dry as fast. And for the rest of the car, good luck. Alright, there we go. Car is washed, chemically decontaminated at the very least, so now what we need to do is go through, do a mechanical decontamination with a clay bar, and then pretty much the paint is ready to go. It's ready to get taped up, and then tomorrow we start the cutting process, but as for now, we need a clay bar. Yeah, this one's gonna be a goodie, because if you can hear this, yeah, it's pretty contaminated. This ought to be a really good clay bar session. sorry about that. I was, oh, whoa, hold on, there we go. We are here with the GTI. It is the second day, and that is cutting day. So we're gonna tape this stuff off, look at the paint and inspect it for you guys, and just start cutting into it. And when it comes to cutting, we're gonna be using stoners. They have some clear compound right here, or clear coat compound, sorry. And I tested it on Jeff's headlights a little earlier, and it worked great, like actually good. I never would expect stoners to have polish and whatnot, but I'm actually really impressed with this. I had to put it in my own little bottle. Stoners, I know you're watching. You guys sell very big containers of it. And when you do that, you know, get like a little squeezy bottle like this. I just took the label and put it on there. It cost me maybe $2 to get those bottles. Makes life so much easier. Look like a buffoon with my hair like this. It's too long for having 98-degree weather here in Florida, man. Let's do a paint inspection now that everything's taped up. As I said earlier on, this paint is in rough shape to say the least. It has a lot of miles on it, so it is to be expected, but there are some areas of the car too that have been resprayed, and there's some really crappy like overspray tape line areas that were missed. It was just a bad respray. Also have some early onset oxidation, obviously some swirls, scratches, rock shatter, and chips in the front, and water spotting or water etching, whatever you prefer to say. It's hard water that has sat on the paint and etched its way through the clear coat. And when I really saw how bad the water etching was, that immediately told me we have to do some seriously aggressive cutting. Water spots suck because sometimes you'll get some that require wet sanding, and I'm not doing that with this. So yeah, it's gonna be an adventure. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is start at the rear emblem, which also acts as the latch for the hatch to open. I think we're going to start on the back side first with a 1-inch polisher and a 3-inch polisher, then work our way around. So Stoner Car Care came to me about a month ago or so and said, hey man, we have some of this compound we would love to send you to give a try. And of course I was like, yeah, I mean, if I can get compound from a company that I love, like, and it works great, obviously that'd be awesome. And come to find out, it is awesome. It just cuts so dang aggressively. So Meguiar's M105 that I would use for insanely aggressive cutting, I'm kicking that stuff out and I'm replacing it with this. That is it's a very strong cutting compound, so I'm gonna keep going with it. We'll see how it acts. This stuff is working phenomenally. Now, I know it looks hazy and it looks all damaged, but as I try to state in every single paint correction video I do, The whole consensus around doing a paint correction, especially during a major one, is you gotta cut deep, which means you're going to put damage into the paint to get rid of damage, and that's why it looks so like hazed up, scratchy. It looks like it just got sanded, which it pretty much did, just on a much smaller level. Now I ended up using a wool pad for the 3 and 5 inch pad, which probably was a little overkill. In my brain I was thinking, okay, Meguiar's M105 does not have very much work time at all, so I wanted to use an aggressive pad matched with the compound to get a lot of work done in a small period of time, but it turns out the Stoners actually has quite a long period of play. Like, it really is a long working product. But I just kept going with the wool anyways, because it was like, man, these water etchings, like, man, it's gonna be really, really bad if I can't get it out and then have to resort to wet sanding, which I definitely did not want to do. So I just stuck with the wool pad, and it actually ended up working out just fine. So I know I might have mentioned earlier, but this car has definitely been resprayed. You can tell that the wing, I guess the wing for a hatch, yeah, has been resprayed. This quarter panel over here has been resprayed. The hatch, I think, is good. The rear bumper was resprayed, front bumper was resprayed. This car pretty much overall was resprayed, and wherever there was overspray, you can see it. You can even kind of see tape lines. These are tape lines right here, with overspray on top. Whew, starting off the next day, I got super worn out yesterday, so I just went ahead and turned off the camera, went home. Today we're going to do it a little differently though. We're going to be pushing through because I really want to start polishing this thing. This thing is going to look so nice once the paint is refined, and that's the point I want to get to today. I want to make sure everything gets done. I want to pull that 5-inch pad, get the doors done, stuff like that. Hood, we'll do a little half and half, and yeah, let's get kicking. One thing to note here, as I'm switching from panel to panel, I'm going to go ahead and tape off certain areas. So like for example, when I'm doing the front quarter, instead of just letting the pad hit the door, I'm going to go ahead and tape off that part of the door, just because I'm using such an aggressive compound and pad method on this paint. I mean, we've already gone over how hard this paint is. Volkswagen paint in general is hard, plus you have water staining and stuff like that from hard water. You just got to cut really deep, and you really do not want the pad to be slamming on the corner of another panel and just chipping away paint. That's how you get burned through on edges of, like, for example, the door. Now the hood is going to be a monster, that's for sure. I mean, if you look at the paint and the condition it is right now, you have early onset oxidation, some terrible hard water stains that have just corroded away at the clear coat, as well as your fair share of swirls and scratches. It did come down to the point where I had to stop though, mostly because of my own comfort zone. We were not chasing absolute perfection, rather we were trying to get as best as possible with what we had, and I did not want to continue cutting after this whole cutting section of the hood because I didn't want to jeopardize the integrity of the clear coat. And because of that, there's still some scratches scattered throughout the hood, but that's where we come in later on with the refining and polishing stage and try to make it so glossy that you just can't see the blemishes. Things we got to do real quick before we do any kind of polishing. First things first, I need to go through and chase, I think, 6 scratches I saw. I'm going to grab the 1-inch polisher and chase those. I need to go through and wipe down everything with IPA, as well as blow all the crap out of the crevices so that way everything's nice and clean to get the paint refined. And then thirdly, I need to go ahead and get these exhaust tips polished up and coated. I wanted to go ahead and smash out the exhaust now while I had it in my head because I just wanted it done and out of the way. It didn't matter too much just because the owner ended up getting an X-Force exhaust system for the car shortly after this detail, but I just wanted the look to all come together, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have a nice car if your tips are dirty, especially when tips are like an iconic part of the car, such as in a GTI or most sports cars where you're supposed to see them and they're supposed to be clean. Yeah, I called a GTI a sports car, deal with it. Because Stoner's compound is super aggressive, I immediately knew whenever I was going into this that it was going to turn into a 3-stage correction. And the way I'm going to do that with this, and what I found working out some test spots, was that a Rupes yellow pad matched with some Sonax cut and finish was a perfect second step, and then the polishing process with a yellow pad and perfect finish gave it the perfect amount of gloss to wrap this thing up. The reason we're going to use the cut and finish, if you haven't picked up on it yet, is that the perfect finish is not going to be aggressive enough to get rid of the micromarring that we introduced into the clear coat, and so before we do any kind of finishing polishing with perfect finish, we're going to need something a little more aggressive to kind of get rid of all that damage. Essentially like compounding, but we're going to be compounding the compounding, if that makes sense. One last thing to note here, the second step is not going to perfectly correct all the damage that we introduced during the first stage. What this is going to do is take away about 90% of that damage, and you'll probably still have a little bit of light micromarring left over, and that's when the third and final polishing stage comes into play, because perfect finish can definitely attack those light scratches that are left over and get rid of them completely. Now this is where it gets kind of weird and very disappointing, because when it comes to the coding footage and all that, I have lost it. Right now what you're seeing is us moving on to the third step, the polishing step with Sonak's Perfect Finish in a yellow pad, and this is where it turns to be beautiful. Like, this is where the car really shines. But we went on a rally after this car was done, and I ended up getting after footage of the car while we were out and about, but I ended up clearing off one of my SD cards thinking, hey, I already exported that footage, and I most certainly did not, and that footage contained the coating footage, and that's insanely disappointing. So I really do apologize for that, especially to you, Jeff, the owner of this. I know you're really excited about this video, so very sorry. But this car came out amazing after we put Sonak's Perfect Finish on the paint with a yellow pad. It honestly turned out immaculate looking. I am so happy with the way this thing turned out. So let's go ahead and continue doing the third step polishing here, and then I'll get back with you guys in a minute and wrap this baby up. And that right there pretty much wraps up this entire ordeal. This was one heck of a fun detail, another beautiful car to add to the list of things that I've done here on the YouTube channel, and I was really happy I got to share it with you guys. Even though I didn't have the ending footage of me like coating it and whatnot, that really does suck because it's my own idiocy, but you know, you take what you have and you make the most of it. I do, however, have some after shots from us taking a 3-hour cruise to St. Augustine to Volkswagen Fest up there. I was able to get some solid clips of that thing along the way, so stick around and see that at the very end. And if you liked the video, please show me by leaving a like. If you've made it this far, then I'm gonna take a guess that you actually liked it. And if you like car detailing content, go ahead and press subscribe, and if you ring that bell, you'll know every single time I upload. That's enough jabbering from me. I'm gonna sit back and relax. I'm watching Formula Drift Seattle, currently in the top 4. Let's go Chris Forsberg, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later. My brother got me a new apron. It's a Cletus McFarlane apron. To my brother, thank you. This thing's awesome. It just doesn't have pockets, which kind of upsets me, but it's still a very nice apron, and I need to use it. I'll figure out what I'm gonna do with the towel.